Today, I have the great honor of welcoming and introducing our 2026 commencement speaker, Nikki Sanz. Nikki's story, hey, oh yeah, please, round of applause. She's incredible. You'll soon find out. Nikki's story begins right here at Charlotte Latin. As a proud member of the class of 2014, she spent 12 years filling our cherished covered walkways with energy, creativity, and leadership. She competed in tennis and lacrosse, danced, sang in the choir, performed in musical theater, and co-founded the Sisters Program, a mentorship initiative for high school girls that continues to thrive at Latin today. Even then, Nikki seemed unwilling to fit into just one lane as she moved seamlessly between stages, sidelines, and service with a seemingly unbounded curiosity. That same spirit carried her to Elon University, where she studied sport and event management before stepping into a future that, at the time, looked anything but certain. Armed with little more than determination and a belief in herself, Nikki moved to Nashville, Tennessee with no job, no roadmap, and no industry connections, only the conviction that she belonged in the world of live entertainment. From there, Nikki's career began to accelerate at an extraordinary pace. Within months, she found herself working production on tour buses with country superstar Eric Church. One opportunity opened the door to another, and Nikki quickly became part of some of the most iconic names and events in entertainment. Her work has taken her behind the scenes with artists like George Strait, Beyoncé, Journey, Justin Bieber, and Dolly Parton, as well as major events including CMA Fest, Bonnaroo, and the Super Bowl. But Nikki didn't just stop at working in the live events industry. She set out to transform it. In 2022, she founded Gigs, the career platform and media company transforming how the live event industry connects, hires, and grows. Today, Gigs is home to more than 50,000 vetted professionals and 2,000 of the largest companies in live events. It has helped fill thousands of jobs across concerts, festivals, tours, corporate events, and theater, and it reaches millions of people each month through its podcast, newsletter, docuseries, and industry nights. Along the way, Nikki's passion for the live events industry, paired with her commitment to inclusivity and innovation, has opened doors to some of the most respected voices in business and entertainment. She secured investment interest from Netflix co-founder Mark Randolph on a Shark Tank-style TV show called Entrepreneur's Elevator Pitch. And in 2024, she was named to the Forbes 30 Under 30 list in the music category, cementing her place among a generation of leaders redefining the industry. Class of 2026, please give an enthusiastic Charlotte Latin welcome to one of our own, Nikki Sanz.
Wow, thank you, Luca. Man, good morning, everyone. Faculty, parents, siblings, friends, most importantly, class of 2026. I want to say how honored I am to be here and seeing my teachers and coaches. Wow. After spending 12 years here, graduated in 14, standing here today feels surreal. When I was sitting exactly where you all are right now, wearing the cap and gown, I remember feeling a huge sense of excitement to get out of here and go to college, but also a lot of uncertainty because graduating from a place like Latin is a little strange. You know, for most of your life here, everything has been very structured. Every year, you know what's coming. The classes get harder, the expectations get higher. There are new teachers, new teams, new activities, new friendships, and there's always a next step planned for you. And then graduation happens, and suddenly it feels like someone opens the door to the rest of your life and just says, okay, now go figure it out. And that's the beautiful thing right now, actually, is for the first time, your life really becomes yours. No one's laying out the roadmap for you anymore. No one's telling you exactly what to do, no matter how much your parents want to tell you what to do. It can feel very terrifying, a lot of pressure, but it's freeing because you get to decide now, what you want to become, who you want to become, what motivates you to wake up, why you work, what matters to you, and what kind of person that you want to become when no one's structuring your life for you anymore. Here's something I wish I knew sooner. No one knows what they're doing. Okay. At 18, at 22, at 30, at 50, 60, y'all. Okay. No one knows. And so I'm standing here today as someone who's been in the real world for about a decade. And instead of pretending like I have everything figured out, I want to share 5 lessons that I've learned the hard way since sitting where I was sitting where you are now. Before I do that, I want to give you a little version of how I got here. So at Latin, I did a little bit of everything. Luca mentioned I played tennis and lacrosse. I was on the dance team, heavily involved in musical theater and chorus, which, by the way, incredible job, y'all. Can we hear it for them, please? Woo! Yeah. The arts here are unbelievable. One of my favorite memories was helping plan the concert in the quad with Mrs. Amy Zinn. That was technically my first gig, actually, that I got to work and put on. I didn't know that would be the start of my music industry career. But I didn't always fit in here. I spent a lot of lunches with teachers and Miss Klein up there, Mr. Estep. But I think everyone feels that to some degree, trying to fit in, not totally feeling like you do. That was actually a huge reason why I started the Sisters program with Mrs. Hunter Murphy, which pairs upperclassmen and underclassmen girls for mentorship. And I'm so proud that it's still going today because it just came from a very simple place of wanting to feel seen and supported. So after Latin, I went to Elon University, go Phoenix, majored in sport and event management, and I got an internship at the Greensboro Coliseum. So when I was 19, I got to work my very first concert, and it was with Dolly Parton, the legend. So I walked into an empty arena and I watched it transform throughout the day. I watched the trucks and the buses roll in, the stage get built, the lights get hung, and the audio just filled the whole space. And I remember standing there thinking, this is a job? I could do this? Okay. And so in that moment, I realized I want to live and work on one of those tour buses. I want to get on a tour. In that moment, my parents were like, you want to do what? Okay. But I couldn't get enough. And I worked there throughout the rest of college. And my mentors encouraged me to move to a big music city. So the day after I graduated college, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee. I didn't know anyone. And I lived with strangers that I met on Facebook, which my parents definitely didn't love. But I just started working. I started at the bottom. We all got to start at the bottom. It was exciting, but it was so scary. I was homesick. I questioned myself constantly if I was being brave or if I was being totally delusional. I didn't have a plan, but I just kept going. I got any job I could get. So I started, setting up instruments at recording studios, working for promoters backstage, at concerts, working catering at festivals, production assistant for music videos. So in that world, everything is word of mouth, as much of life is. So you meet one person, they get you that next gig, and then you just keep building. So after about 5 months, I got my first opportunity to work with Eric Church on tour, which, by the way, I did hear that Eric Church gave the UNC Chapel Hill commencement. I had to turn that one down because I was already committed to y'all, but I heard he did a pretty good job. It's fine. All right. So from there, I worked with many other artists that Luca mentioned. What an honor to work with George Strait and Justin Bieber, Journey, and again, Dolly Parton, full circle, doing things that I never thought that was even possible. Over time, though, I noticed that this industry that I loved was really hard to navigate. Hiring was very inconsistent and chaotic, and there was no real system. So I saw there was a problem, needed a solution, and I was crazy enough to think, well, I think I can do that. So I decided to build one in 2022, and it's called Gigs, which is the career platform for the live event industry. So it gives the industry a job board, a professional network, a place for companies and professionals to actually interact and connect for the first time. So today, as Luca mentioned, we have over 50,000 professionals, thousands of companies, thousands of jobs filled, and we have a podcast, docuseries, newsletter. Our media reaches millions of people every month. Along the way, I was named to Forbes 30 Under 30, which was a crazy honor. I could not believe it. It opened doors that I could not believe, helped me fly to Dubai to meet other leaders around the world on the 30 under, 40 under, 50 over 50 lists. So it was one of those moments where I was like, how did this become my life? It seems so wow, but I'm telling you, most of my life is late nights. It's lots of sacrifices. It's lots of tears. It's lots of questioning why I'm doing this. And it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's where I want to share 5 of the lessons that I've learned the hard way today. So, starting with number 1, you don't have to have the perfect plan to start. You just have to start somewhere. So when I first had this idea for gigs for this company, I didn't know how to build a company. I didn't know how to build a tech company. I didn't know how to hire developers or raise capital from investors. I didn't know how to do 95% of the things that I was going to have to learn how to do. But I couldn't stop thinking about this problem and how I really wanted to solve it. So I started writing a business plan, researching the market, asking questions, calling mentors, and trying to figure out if this idea really had legs. And that's how most things begin. You guys are going to have a lot of mountains to climb. New school, new friends, new routines, new pressure, new freedom, new decisions. And you don't have to know how to climb every new mountain before you take that first step. You just have to trust that you're going to figure it out and use your resources once you get there. That is real confidence. It's not knowing everything. It's knowing that you're resourceful enough to actually learn and humble enough to ask for help. It's brave enough to start and resilient enough to get back up and keep going. So I want you to know this too. Latin has given you a foundation. You may not realize it yet, but the way you've been challenged here, as I know you all have been challenged here by your teachers, your coaches, classmates, this whole community has prepared you to just figure things out. And it does not mean life will be easy because it's not going to be easy. But you've been given the tools, and you get to decide how you use these tools. So, number 2, choose to do hard things. This is something I wish, if I could go back and tell my younger self, this is what I would tell myself. This is not very fun to hear, congratulations on graduating. Now go make your life harder. Okay. But I really, really believe this. Hard things build real confidence. You all know this already, whether you realize it or not. You know the difference between taking the easy class and taking the class that actually challenges you. You know the difference between the teacher who pushes you because they know you're capable of more. You know the difference between the practice where you just kind of slide through and the coach that really pushes you to your limit to do things that you didn't realize that you actually were capable of. Those are the moments that build you, not because they're easy, it's because they're hard. And when you do something hard, you start building trust with yourself. So I think about it like this. If a friend said, "Hey, I'll meet you at the gym in the morning," and they don't show up over and over and over, they don't show up, you stop believing that they're ever going to show up. You stop trusting that. So we do that with ourselves. If you tell yourself that you're going to do something and you don't do it over and over, you stop believing you can. You stop trusting that you can. But if you tell yourself you're going to do something and you do it, you build that trust. And that self trust becomes confidence. Confidence to believe that you can do hard things over and over, like get up early, run a half marathon. I mean, you guys are all incredibly impressive already, and you just will continue building that confidence. There have been so many moments where I've sat on the floor completely overwhelmed and crying, just thinking, why am I doing this? Why didn't I get a normal job with normal hours and a normal life? But every time I've gotten through this hard thing that I'm going through, I prove to myself, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Those are growing pains. And my faith is something that I really lean on to help get me through that as well. So I encourage you to choose the harder path. Take the class that stretches you. Try out for the thing that scares you. Have the hard conversation with a friend. Wake up early. Keep the promises that you made to yourself because the hard things refine you and actually make you stronger. Number 3, work hard and be impossible to ignore. Being impossible to ignore does not mean being the loudest in the room. It means the person that people remember because of how you show up. So let me explain here. When I first moved to Nashville, I started at the bottom. And every time I got a very small opportunity, I treated it like it was the biggest opportunity of my life. And so a producer noticed that I was working and I was doing the job no one else wanted to do and asked if I wanted to work at his recording studio. And then that opportunity led to new relationships, which led to new opportunities and new gigs. So, one job, I got the opportunity to work catering for Eric Church at his Christmas party at his house. I treated this like a very big opportunity. The whole tour crew was there, and I just was like, "Hey, do you guys need anyone to go out on tour? Because I'm ready." And they said no, they were all set. So I followed up and I said, "I will work harder than anyone you'll ever meet. Just give me a shot." And they gave me a shot the next day at rehearsals. And next thing I knew, I was on tour with Eric Church. That opportunity completely changed my life, not because I was the most experienced or had the perfect resume, because I did not. It happened because I worked hard, I followed up, I stayed willing, and I made myself very memorable. So that looks like showing up early and staying late, asking questions, reading the room, having a very positive attitude, and doing the job that no one else wants to do. It's very easy in today's world to really stand out by doing these things. So, whatever room that you walk into next, be a sponge, learn everything you can, and do the small things well, because small things done with excellence have a way of opening very big doors for you. Number four, relationships shape your whole life. The sooner you learn this, the better. I want to focus, I want you all to focus right now on finding a mentor. If you don't have one already, that's incredibly important, especially at 18. One of my mentors very early in my career was a man named Chris Bragg, and he had tour managed artists like Pink and Michael Bublé, and he was my manager at the Greensboro Coliseum. Something I noticed about him immediately was that he remembered everyone's name. Always. He always remembered everyone's name. And everybody, the custodial staff, the crew chiefs, the security team, the promoters, the executives, it didn't matter who someone was or what their title was. He would stop, he would use their name, and he would ask how they're doing, and he would make them feel seen. Something that I've noticed about the class of 26, that the teachers have noticed, the faculty, and I think you all have noticed, is this unity that you guys have. And that's because of your own effort to get there. I want to call out the leader of the Spirit Club, Wills Hutchinson. Where are you? Where are you? Let me see. Hey, Wills. Give it up for Wills. Yeah. So the Spirit Club, as I learned, was showing up for each other in ways that I know was not a thing when I was at Latin. Of course, football and basketball get all the love, people show up, but you all were showing up for each other at volleyball and softball and cross country, musicals and plays and wrestling and tennis. It takes effort to show up. You have to be inconvenienced to show up for each other. And that is so beautiful. And that is why you guys have this beautiful unity, the we are family spirit. That is really rare, especially in high school. So I hope that you all take that into your next phase of life. Relationships really do shape your life in ways that you can't predict yet. So when I first moved to Nashville, one of my very first meetings was a connection through a family friend with a man named Andy Moats. He leads the entertainment and sports division of Pinnacle. He's a very, very big deal in Nashville. So I sat down with him at coffee and I was just like, hey, how do I get a job on the road? Like, how do I get on a tour? And he was very kind and he was very helpful. But I remember leaving thinking, I don't think he's going to help me at all. That was kind of a waste of my time. And I didn't know how a banker was going to help me get on the road. But I stayed in touch with him. I updated him when I did get on the road. I updated him at my next career change. And then when I started my company, crazy enough, Andy became one of my very first investors. And since then, he has invested in my company multiple times and opened doors for me that I never could have imagined and I could have never opened on my own. So that one meeting 8 years ago, I almost dismissed completely ended up changing my life. And that's how relationships work. You don't always know which relationships will become meaningful years from now. So here's my very practical advice that my dad taught me, actually. This summer, I really encourage you to start a spreadsheet and just write down all the adults that you know that have jobs and how you know them, what they do. Start asking people for 15-minute phone calls, an actual 15-minute phone call, super easy. And ask them how they got to where they are, what they wish they could tell you, anyone that they could introduce you to. And then send these people updates, stay in touch because they want to help you. People want to help, but you do have to ask. And then one more thing too on relationships. When y'all start interviewing for internships or jobs or leadership roles, whatever comes next for you, do not try to become the version of yourself that you think that they want. As cliche as it sounds, be yourself because it really matters. I have hired so many people based on their personality and their work ethic and their attitude, not on their resume. If you have to perform a fake personality to get the opportunity, you have to keep performing that once you get there. So be professional and respectful, but be you. The goal is to build a life where you can actually be yourself around the people in it. Final lesson here, number 5. Closed doors are redirection. This is a hard lesson to learn. Sometimes closed doors are very painful and humiliating and confusing. And sometimes it feels like you did everything you could and everything right, and you still didn't get what you wanted. Some of those closed doors are going to happen sooner than you think. You might not have gotten into the college that you initially wanted. You might not get into the club that you want, or the sorority or the fraternity that you really want. Maybe the relationship that you thought would last forever ends. Maybe your first semester feels lonelier than you expected. Maybe the major that you picked isn't the right fit. In those moments, it's so easy to think, everyone else has it figured out but me. Again, back to the beginning. No, they don't. Okay. These closed doors redirect you to where and who you're supposed to be. You have to follow the open doors that God is opening for you. So, for example, when I didn't get the job that I really wanted, I was crushed. But then the very next day, I had this idea for gigs to start this company. So the door that I desperately wanted to open closed. And so then this new door opened and I went that way, and that keeps happening. This year I was in conversations with a large company about acquiring my company, about buying gigs. And for months I thought maybe this was the answer. Maybe this was, all my hard work paying off and I could retire and get the beach house and be done with this life. But of course, the offer came in and it was not right. And I said no. And honestly, I really grieved that closed door because I already imagined what my life would look like on the other side of that door. But it forced me to keep dreaming. I realized that that door closing didn't mean that my dream was over. It just meant that I needed to rethink things. I needed to dream again. I needed to pivot, see the company in a new way, to raise new capital, which I am raising a seed round if anyone wants to have a conversation. Sorry. And now I feel just way more excited about the future than I did before. So that's the thing about closed doors. Sometimes they're protecting you, redirecting you. Sometimes they're forcing you to become the person that you need to be to walk through the right door. And one day you'll look back at that moment that really broke your heart and realize that it changed your life for the better. So I want to take a moment before I finish for all of y'all to look up into the stands and find your people. Find your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, your family, your friends, teachers, and coaches. And the waving, I wanted to cry so many times. They're the people that showed up for you, who supported you, who sacrificed for you. Because Latin ain't cheap, y'all. They sacrifice for you to be here. Latin is an incredible place, and you probably don't fully understand that yet until you leave. I experienced that, but you will. So take a second and just look at them and remember, if you don't remember anything else I said, just remember to say thank you constantly to people. You can never say thank you enough. I really challenge you to write a handwritten thank you letter to the people who were in your corner and helped guide you through your life to get you to this next phase. It means so much more than a text or a call, a handwritten letter. You'll be really thankful that you did. So, class of 2026, you do not need to have everything figured out right now. You don't need to have the perfect plan. You just got to start and take that first step. Try things and work hard and be kind. Take risks, fail gracefully, be thankful, and keep going when things get difficult, because they will. But if you keep showing up for yourself and others, as you've already showed you're so good at, things will start to work out in ways that you can't even see yet. Congratulations, you all. Your life is just beginning.